When are
That,
you going to believe your actual real story and believe that that's
yes.
enough? That's more than enough.
That,
That's more than enough.
I couldn't have said that better. Like, that is beautiful. Like, just listen to that. Let that sink in. Because we oftentimes, yes, feel that it's not, we're not. And because of that, we just sit in that space of helplessness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, 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 you got it. And you have everything that you need. You just have to believe it. You have to be willing to bet on you. You have, yes, you're going to have to show up and do the work. But the work that you think you're going to have to do, that's actually not the larger part of the work that needs to be done. The biggest work that there is, especially as you are stepping into entrepreneurship and are going to see it through because that is the space that you desire to be in, that inner work, that work on you,
Yes.
that's the work.
What's up, Doc? Welcome to the Docs Get Money podcast. Are you a badass doctor killing it professionally and has bigger dreams than just clocking in and out of the hospital? Do you want to leave behind a legacy that is as lit as an HBCU homecoming? Want to know how other doctors are getting to the big bag? That's right, making 5, 6, and 7 figures without putting on the white coat? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kimberly, but you can call me Kim or KB. I went from being a burnt out and overwhelmed emergency physician to the founder and CEO of 2 6-figure non-clinical companies and beating burnout along the way. I'm also your business coach, here to help you make money moves to change the world. This podcast isn't just about making money, though. It's about leveling up your life, mindset, and bank account so you can build an empire that's as iconic as Beyonce. You ready? Let's get into it.
Picture this. You're sprinting out of a building engulfed in flames. The very structure you once revered as a temple of healing now is nothing but a towering inferno of burnout and frustration. Behind you, the endless nights, the thankless shifts, and the corporate medicine structure controlling how you practice are all consumed by the blaze. Up ahead, you see nothing but freedom, clarity, purpose, income, and impact. That's where I come in. And from side hustler to CEO, my signature one-on-one business coaching program, you'll start your own fire by launching your first profitable coaching, consulting, or midterm rental business and make clinical cash in 90 days or less. That's right, 4 or 5 figures in 90 days or less. This is for the doctors who feel like every shift is a dumpster fire, unmanageable, or just out of control. Let me help you rise from the ashes, thriving, and with a business that brings you life instead of sucking it out of you. Ready? Slide into my DMs on Instagram at Dr. Kimberly B with the word out, and let's turn the burnout into the bag. How are you? Hello.
I just feel like it's been so much.
I
It's been so
know.
much. But
How are you?
good. I cannot complain at all. How are you?
Honestly, I'm really, really good as well. I can't. Right, I could choose to complain. There's some things I could complain about, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. But no, overall, everything has been so good. I really want to get to know your journey in healthcare. Of course, you're a nurse. How did you become not only a bedside RN, but then also how did you become an administrator? I want to know, of course, because my podcast is all about how to make money outside of clinical work. So, how did you then become a coach and then start coaching clients, things like that? It's like we didn't get no training about that in nursing school, of course, medical school, things like that. So just letting people know like your pathway and that this is an option for them.
So, I mean, I started out in accounting, and I don't know if I really told you that story. It's just what I think my mom knew. She worked in like budgeting for the state for years, ended up retiring from there. And I started off, working in the office as well when I was going to college, when I just started college. That was, not my first job, but it all kind of led up to that. I was always working in some type of an office setting. Never did retail, never did any restaurant work, nothing like that. Like my first jobs were in that office type setting. And so I went into school feeling like, okay, well, this seems easy. I loved math. And for some reason, my my thinking was, oh, if you love math, okay, you should go and do accounting, right? No, that's not how that works. Um, like study mathematics, there's so much else. And I loved science too. But I went into accounting and it was challenging, it's definitely a different language. It was a way in which my analytical mind was really able to kind of like love all of the stuff and take it all in and do a lot with that type of information, that type of processing. But as I got more into it outside of school, I just missed like the people connection. That really was, it's like, oh, you help people by being in connection with people, not behind a computer screen looking at spreadsheets all day long. Right. And so that's when I went to nursing school. That, I don't know why nursing, kind of stood out for me. I did Peace Corps in Belize, during my, like right after college years. And I learned that like, you have to have a skill in order to really be able to help people. I didn't connect that to finance at the time. There's some definite ways that you can help people around finance. But I looked at it like, this is work that you do when you really want to be able to take care of people. And so when I came back, accounting was how I got through nursing school. But I was in leadership roles in accounting. And so I actually, when I finished, I had accounting and then I went into like practice management within a midwifery practice while I was finishing up my RN school. And then I transitioned into like case management. Like it was not even like floor nursing, which I think for a lot of people, it's like, whoa, what?
Right.
You did your 1 year med surg? I did not. I did internal medicine and, transitioned into some Department of Corrections work, but like, just continued on that path.
How do you find the Department of Corrections work?
I was looking for something part-time. I still had the idea of like, oh, no. You don't just advance in nursing without having a lot of that that developed skill of direct patient care. I was providing it in a different capacity and learning a lot about like chronic disease management and all of that stuff, which has been tremendously helpful for me. But I wanted something that I felt like was still going to give me like some hands-on skills. I mean, okay. I won't say that was it, but I did that for a couple of years, and it allowed me to just continue to grow as a leader, but in the healthcare space. Because even when I was in accounting, I was in a healthcare organization for the most part. So it had always been like a thread between the work that I was doing and coming out of finishing up DOC, that internal medicine work, I literally stepped into leadership, into an executive role. And that just that doesn't really happen for people. I did leadership in a couple of different arenas, but it was always some sort of clinical management, clinical supervisor type role until I did some like consulting and marketing work, or market work for another healthcare organization that held me moving around like a lot of different locations. And I think that allowed me to develop the leadership that helped me to get into the executive role that I was in. So yeah, it's been, a really wild kind of path, because I don't think that would have happened for me had I not had a lot of that business experience, that business background, the leadership outside of nursing that I was able to bring to the table because I understood budgets. I understood, what it meant to lead a team and to do the HR components of it because I was already doing that. And so it really made that transition easy to say, okay, I understand nursing. Like I am a nurse.
Right.
But at my core, there is this way in which you operate. And I just found it more satisfying to start taking care of the people who were taking care of the patients, in that way that I feel like it was, that nursing inside of me as well, that I was able to kind of tap into. So yeah, it's, meandered all over the place. But that's how I really got into, executive nursing. And, then I realized I'm like, well, I'm 40 and I'm in the C-suite, but like, is this, I don't know, right? Like this, this is cool. There's opportunities here, but like there was still something else that was really calling me.
Were you bored in any way or shape or fashion?
I think I was more so frustrated, because you're still working inside of systems that, have their own challenges. And that's, one of the pieces where I had so much desire to dive into, like, let me work with these organizations who want to take care of their people. Cause when you know what healthcare is like, and people have so much burnout, and you're pouring into other people because they're your patients. You're taking care of them, whatever they've got going on, their whole story. Like that's what
matters, not me. Right.
And so when you're there all day and you're making sure that they are okay, you're continuing to pour out. And, as a leader for nurses and other healthcare professionals, I had like this, it was like this developed desire to want to create for them workspaces that felt really good, that, allowed them to be replenished and not depleted. And so, that's why I was like, I really, there is some work here that I need to be doing with organizational leaders and other executives that want to truly create an environment for their people, where they can show up and do their best work.
I have to pause you because one, first of all, I don't think we've talked about this stuff in the level of this level because we met each other. If we really honest how we met each other having a lot of drinks at a conference in a swimming pool with each other, and then just got to chatting and realizing that we were both in the medical space, and we kind of we kept in contact from that point on. But I love the fact that you're telling me that that's kind of your why and your journey as to, you got the success. Like that is, you've had an extraordinary path to your career as being a nurse. Like you do not go from barely the bedside to immediately leading nurses. So that's so powerful, especially as a Black woman. And then on top of that, like, I love the fact that you were honest enough with yourself, even though you're in this powerful place. Like, yeah, I'm in the C-suite. Yeah, I got this fancy title after my name. But it's like, what is the environment that's around me that we're really creating? Are we being healthful in our surroundings and how we're treating each other? And so that reminded me just so much of why I started my first like real business from my burnout, Sherwood Properties, because I wanted to do the same thing. Like as a locums doctor, I was definitely not being able to take care of myself at the hospital. I couldn't go home. How could I create a space like for, if not myself, for other people, so that I can restore myself and heal myself, and being able to help heal people with just even the environment that they're in, not necessarily me doing all the things, putting in a central line, intubating you, seeing you as a patient. So I just love that. I didn't know that we had that level of parallel in our story.
I love it. And even just, I think it takes some time, you deepen the conversations, but a lot of times those threads kind of exist, and, you just connect with someone, and you had no idea that, you're going to be someone who is in that person's life for a lifetime, and and how your paths have come together, but even the purpose that there is to those paths coming together. So I absolutely love it. And it's good to see that like that you also are connected with like that work, the work of making sure that like you can have a space where you as a woman can show up and provide something of benefit to somebody else that will also impact their lives. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so you were frustrated about the environments that you were in or that was you were creating as well. So, what did you do after that? What came next?
So I started to look at like, okay, so what is it for me, right? Like if I'm not going back to school to try and do something different, right? I'd already done that, and switching over from accounting to nursing, and there was also so many skills that had been developed. Not only did I do those things from a higher level education perspective, like an institutional perspective, I had done, massage work. I had done herbal, community herbalism and yoga, yoga teacher training as well. And it's like, what is all of this really teaching me? Like, why am I diving into all of these spaces? What is it that I am meant to bring? And what that deeper work and introspection really taught me was that there is the thing that I do naturally, which is connect with people, try to understand what is going on, but also try to open up and encourage them towards like their work, towards that next thing, that what I call like that generator energy. Like where we're going next, right? Because we are all here. We have this life to live, and if we're on our purpose, which I don't believe we're ever off our purpose, I think it's just most times it's clouded vision that keeps us just, kind of in a cycle,
Yeah.
a repeating cycle. But when we are like tapped in and tuned on to it, then like it lights our life up. And I really want to be a part of helping women feel that lit up type of energy.
Yeah.
Because that's what like we start spreading our magic then. And that's a beautiful thing. So
It really is. Okay, so tell me about your journey, because I guess let me give more context for those who are listening. So we met each other at a business conference for other historically marginalized people who are seeking to be millionaires, and so we were at a very very, I forgot the name of the hotel. Fancy, we'll just say, hotel in Puerto Rico a couple of years ago, and just luxuriating in the pool, like I said, drinking, having fun. So you were there. I was there just as Sherwood Properties. I hadn't even started coaching yet. That was something I was thinking of doing in my background, but I was like, no, I'm really trying to grow Sherwood Properties to like, $1 million and beyond. So I guess, how did you then go about your entrepreneurial journey? When did you start coaching people and saying, okay, this is how I'm going to form these gifts of connection and healing to actually coaching? So when did that all start?
So, it started actually not long I'll say in an organized way, not long before that conference. Very unorganized prior to that, because I had been doing massage therapy. I had been, using what I had learned from community herbalism to also share different just things that were helpful to your body from a wellness perspective to people that I also knew. And so there was always some sort of entrepreneurial spirit in addition to like having my own rental property. So knowing that like, okay, I'm doing this, but I really want to be able to do it on a grander level. And I want to be able to bring this energy, bring this life into women's lives. I tried to find the thread. I tried to find the thing that like I always go back to, like what do I do that nobody can really it's almost like nothing is going to stop me from doing that, because it is uniquely mine. And that for me was in those spaces with women. I'm trying to figure out like how to empower them to their next level. And so coaching it wasn't something that I'm like, oh, I want to be a coach. But I just recognized that I wanted to work with women in providing more individualized support, and And so I just started saying, okay, like, let me look into this. What does this really look like if I am going to offer this as a service? And that led me into getting a coach of my own,
Mm-hmm.
which helped me to understand, like, okay, this is what's really possible in this space. I'm able to establish something, to create something where I can help these women over a period of time. It can look different. It
Yeah.
started off, like with a 3-month program. And that for me was like, okay, I'm going to dig in here because there's so much that I want to be able to throw in. But because it's in an individualized capacity, I really can hear what and where this woman is, and then be able to connect with her, and really be able to support along that journey. So I looked back and said, what is it that what transformation do I want to be able to help this woman create? And that is something that has morphed over time. It's become a lot more clear than it was then. Back then, it was a lot more wellness based in the sense
Mm-hmm.
of just wellness, not associated with work, not associated with leadership specifically, even though at its core it still was, because it was teaching these women how to connect with themselves, how
Mm-hmm.
to understand the doubts and the fears, the things that come up as resistance on our path, but how to work through those. And so it's not something that's keeping them from being able to show up in what's uniquely their gifts, the things that I feel like are God given. And I say that in a very just openly loving way, whatever
Mm-hmm.
form, people perceive, foresee that higher power being for them or perceive it to be. But like, I wanted to be able to help them to understand, like, you have this support, you have something that's really special. And when you can kind of get out of your own way, when you can let those doubts fall,
Yeah.
then you show up. And that's what, and starting to talk about it, and starting to share, in different social capacities. I started to reach out and to offer those services. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I was able to get clients. And it blew my mind. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is something I can make a living at. It's very different.
Yeah, well, let me pause you because that's so good right there. I love the way you started, which is really not asking. You did so many things that is just the perfect pathway to for the transition of this. But you found out what you were really good at. You realized, like, honestly, I think I can transform a life. I don't know how to do this though. You sought coaching yourself and then started to become the product of your product and like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening now. Then you immediately thought back again about your ideal person and like who you saw yourself really helping and serving and working with and not trying to be tailored for anybody else but just to them, and then understanding what you said, which was so good. What is the transformation that I can provide for them? Like, in essence, how can I help this
Yeah.
woman or this person? And then you built your business from there. The idea of how you were going to go about it after that, and then you just was like, okay, it's time now. I'm gonna start announcing. I'm gonna start selling. So tell me, did you have like a process of like how you got your first clients? Like, how did you even get your first one or two clients? If I don't know, was it from just connections, or yeah, like I said, tell me. I have no idea.
It was connections with people that I had known previously. But honestly, it was a coach saying, okay, so you've got all of this mapped out. You know how you are going to take them, through these steps that they're going to need to go from here to here, right? Like,
Right.
they don't necessarily know what's going on or where they want to be. They know they want something different. They've got all of the things going on, feeling, a little helpless. But really to being over here, standing in their power, showing up as like that boss that they truly want to be.
Right.
And
Right.
like, you are stepping them through that. And so I had all of that laid out, which is where I typically sit. I am like an ideator. I will brainstorm all the things, come up with all the frameworks.
That's
And,
my number two strength is ideation. So yes.
So like there's journals for days. And she's like, okay, let's do this. Like let's put this out here. And it was really hearing her say, it just kind of hits home every time that I think about it. But it was really the message of, if you're not bringing that gift that is only yours to give, then the people who are out here waiting for it, the people who need what only you can bring, they won't get it. And so it flipped it for me. It flipped it from it being about me and all of the things that were keeping me from not putting my work out there, from not sharing, to, I have something that is special to how I have lived, the experiences that I have had, that will also help someone else on their path. And it's like, it's your people, So I really know that's one of the reasons why this is my work, because there are so many other women who have that special thing inside of them that they are so afraid to bring out, or they don't feel like it's special at all. Like
Yes.
that's really, it's
That's
like, oh
the
no,
biggest thing I've seen. They don't feel
yes,
like, oh, wait, what? Huh?
yes,
That's
exactly,
cool. Girl, yes.
yes,
I've been dying for that.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And I think that when that there's that realization, and when you also recognize that, like, it's not about you, like it really get out of the way,
Hmm.
open up to that larger purpose, that reason why you are here, and pour that forward, pour that into someone else's life. And like that's the work that we are here to do.
Come on, somebody. I just wanna pause right here because listeners, let me just tell you, Kenya just took you right to entrepreneur school. If you want to start a business as a coach, a consultant, then you need to probably rewind about 3 minutes, maybe five, and just listen back to everything that she did in order to start. That is exactly what you need to do. And I love the fact that you had a coach that told you it's time to sell. Like, put this out there, and you not doing it in a gross and salesy way, like, okay, let's make money, sign a client. But it's like, making sure you're so deeply connected to your person that you are compelled to sell, that you
Mm,
are not, selling a lemon of a used car to somebody. You are literally selling them their desires, their help, the everything that they want. I literally was just having this conversation with a client as we were talking about sales as well too. It's just like, you have to let your vision and their vision, continue to lead you, because you're there as a coach to call them to their higher selves.
right.
They have reached out to you and, said that they've wanted this, and you have laid out a plan. And so as a coach, it's your job to hold them, like I said, accountable to the vision for themselves, because you can see it as well too. So
That
I
right
just
there.
love that. I just love that. Like I said, if you want to just go to e-school, I'm calling it lately e-school, real quick. Like I said, 5 minute blurb. I strongly suggest you just listen to that 5 minutes, because she just gave you a whole bunch of free game on how to get started. I just had to double tap on that.
I love it. It's really, I don't know how many of your listeners are already on that entrepreneurship path, or are, seeking to get there. It's one of the things that, I would say, it's not for the faint of heart. You have to have that thing that's calling you forward, because it can be easy to, fall into just the same old habits, or to give up. Really, really easy to do
Yes.
that, because you're going to encounter challenges along the way. But when that thing calls you forward,
Hmm.
then that's something that is really difficult to ignore. And
Yeah.
so that's why it's important to kind of tap in and understand, like, what is it that I want to do? What is my gift? How do I want to contribute? What I like to say is, how am I going to be of service? And
Hmm.
so get into your thing, into your space, whatever that looks like, and then bring it all.
Yes.
That's where the joy is.
That's so good, Kenya. There's a varied amount of people that listen to my audience that are in different stages. Yes, some are already entrepreneurs in the thick of building their business, and some of them are just kind of nervously watching, like, I want this, but how and what do I do? And so I'm saying all that to say that one thing that is the biggest part, and you and I both know this from, our experiences as business coaching more specifically, is fear of so many different things is what holds people back from actually, quote, getting started, from actually making their first sale and getting uncomfortable
Absolutely.
and doing that. But if you don't have your why driving you forward, that's how you end up being the successful person. Sometimes, a lot of ways, successful person, but you have no soul, you have no depth, you have no empathy, you're not connected to your people and your clients. And then you may make money, but then maybe there's a lot of disappointed people because you're not really connected to where they are and really serving their needs deeply.
Right.
So I think sometimes when we talk about money on this podcast, and even the name of my podcast, the Docs Get Money podcast, that can be very much misconstrued as, oh, by any means necessary, we're just going to get money, get money, get money. And it's like, no, it's really coming from, like you said, something that's calling you higher, calling you to do something different, calling you to shift your environment, and just knowing that following that, the money is going to be along the way. But
Absolutely.
it's not about just being unethical and gross and just, like I say, quick rich schemes. I don't talk about that. I talk all about how to build sustainable, ethical paths out of
Right.
medicine or out of our clinical work. Of course, you're a nurse as well too, but it's just like, that's the message that I want to say as well too. And I'm so glad that you shared that it's like, you're not going to be as successful as you want unless you really are connected to your why and letting that drive you.
Yes, and one of the other things that I think I also tie in is like, what are your values? Like, what are those things that are like, that's where you filter, all of the other stuff through. Like, should I do this? Should I make this decision, or should I go down this path? Let me see, what are the things that are important to me, right? And I think that developing those, or at least calling out like what those are for you, that helps for you to make sure that you can steer as you're, kind of heading forward on that path. Like, the direction that you want to go, but we're going to bump up against the railings, as
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to navigate that, because it gets bumpy.
Yeah.
But the way that that you are still headed towards your true north is making sure that you're running those through whatever those values are, for your life. Like, how do you want to live? And as long as you are in alignment with those, that's the way. That's the way forward. So yeah, I invite any of your listeners who are ready, are, if they know what their purpose is, if they feel like they are on it, but they could ramp it up, like all of the different scenarios. Don't dim your light. Make sure that you are bringing it, because this life is so short. It's
So
so
short.
short,
So
and
short.
so it's time. We've kind of gotten to the levels that we've been in, the rooms that we are in, because of all of the work that we've put in. So
Right.
now, how do you want to use what you have learned along the way? How do you want to pay that forward?
Yeah. I love that. I have a question for you. So, how has your life changed since two things? It's the same question, but two different hats I'm gonna ask you to put on. How has your life changed since you became a coach and started working with clients and getting results? And how has your life changed more specifically since you've been fully embracing the identity as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So the from the first perspective, there I will say that as you step into entrepreneurship and you start to earn, in amounts that are, very very similar to what you might be, used to with your paychecks. That's a very different space, and realization for how, you can sustain yourself going forward, outside of what has historically been, the concept of how you work, especially trained as a clinician, because it's within a certain arena that, those types of that money, that those types of payments come your way. And when you're able to step outside of that and do your own thing and still be able to bring in, money that is very much on par with that, that it changes the game for how you see yourself, and where you want to take your life, going forward. I never would have imagined, that I would be able to get, and secure clients that would bring in what my paychecks were bringing in. And that's major, because one space I'm feeling like I'm pouring out in a way that, like, it's replenishing, like I'm doing work
Yes.
that feels really aligned. I'm talking about coaching, but, like, I also have rental property, and creating space where people can live and enjoy that. Like,
Yes.
it all ties for me, but my brain never even thought that that was something that was possible when I just thought corporate.
Yeah.
And so that's been major, from I'll say that about entrepreneurship. When I speak of specifically coaching, oh man, the feeling of being able to help someone have clarity, get them to a space of feeling clarity, being able to help them find the answers that they already have,
Yes.
but that a lot of times, is clouded in doubt and in fear, or in all of the habits and the programming, that our upbringings and environments can create for us. When, I'm able to help support someone through that, to believing in themselves, believing in the potential, believing that they can become that entrepreneur that's able, to generate those, types of, that type of revenue, from the work that they do. That for me is tremendously rewarding, because it provides, an opportunity for freedom for some,
Yeah.
when you
Absolutely.
only think about corporate, you feel, I mean, it can feel very locked in, right? But this provides another pathway. This provides another option, that is naturally something that you can give. And so that for me, has changed the game, and it has become, the reason why it's like, this is my work. And even though, I'm still in a corporate environment, it helps me to show up differently even there, because what it does is it allows me to say, okay, what's my gift? What is it that is my work? How do I bring that in this environment in a way that, makes it better, that leaves an impact, that creates a mark, for all that are, coming, into this space to do their work, while they are here. And I think it's even more important to be able to help create larger environments where, that can happen, because there's so many people who, before they step into entrepreneurship, or as they are transitioning, out of a corporate environment, they still want to have that safe space. And
Right.
so, that they can learn who they are, what work is theirs to bring, and that allows for them to do that. When you can really have that safe space to be able to do your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. As we were talking, I was just thinking about, of course, how we got to know each other a little bit more, and that's through a coaching certification. And so a lot of doctors, which I'm going to assume maybe nurses feel like this as well too. I know you work with all high achievers, but I'm assuming with nurses as well too. I get a lot of questions about, should I be certified, and using that as credibility in order to get started, or wondering if that's a necessity, to getting started. I know I was in the middle of
getting my coaching certification, but it sounds like you had already, of course I didn't know, you had already started coaching some clients before you and I were in that same certification before. So saying all that to say, did you ever get certified or have any other certifications? And if so, why? Or like, what did you do, if you feel free to share that? And then why did you decide to get certified? I think that's a better idea because it's not a requirement. Of course, I'm asking you a trick question, but I'm just wondering like what your reasoning behind getting certified was.
So I didn't have any other coaching certification.
Okay.
I was certified in massage therapy, so I was able to do body work in that way. I had done a yoga teacher training, and so that for me was something that, you know, I was able to teach. So getting the coaching certification wasn't about having the title. I had gone and done so many other things, and at first I thought that you needed to have the title. There are certain things you're going to need, like you can't become a doctor.
Right. You gotta have a title.
Like there are certain things, you know, you don't become a nurse and practice when you haven't sat for your boards, passed your boards, and become licensed. And so, yeah, in certain arenas, you have to be able to achieve certain things to a certain level. But as we've said, you know, coaching it's not like that. And so for me, you know, I will say that was something that challenged me, because I think that a lot of us are programmed to, well, how are you certified? You know, what piece of paper have you gotten? And I was ascribing to that thought process, to that way of thinking initially, feeling like, oh, well, I need to have this in order to validate what I was already naturally doing, have been naturally doing, which is why I feel I was able to get into leadership roles in the way that I was, because I was naturally coaching people in those settings. And so it took me a minute to sit back and say, like, at what point in time am I going to recognize that I'm chasing the piece of paper because I think that the piece of paper is going to make me more qualified, or at least to be able to say I'm qualified to do this work that I have been doing for years, right?
I'm just protecting my edges, because that's a wig snatch, and I just don't want my edges to come off alongside of it.
Go ahead. So true.
It is so true. It's so
there
true.
Are so many women who they're super ambitious, but are like, I need the paper, or I'm going to go back to school to get this thing and this degree, and we'll be chasing that for forever. And that's just a way of being able to let ourselves off the hook from not showing up in the work, right? Like get to the work, because when you are good at what you do, then it's going to speak for itself. It's not going to be about that certification that you have hanging on the wall. That may sound nice for some, and honestly, they may not be your people. Yeah.
That's why I love interviewing other coaches on this podcast, because you will get your wig snatched clean off so nicely and gently with a smile. And it's like, whoa, okay, let me do something different. But that is so real. We have literally been programmed to be twice as good to just get half as much. And that's why there are so many anxious, overwhelmed, overweight, stressed out, unhealthy people, women of color, Black women more specifically, because we carry that burden of, like I was saying, that we just need to continuously try to prove ourselves. Yeah. And so I think, honestly, and you can correct me if you think this is wrong or otherwise, but like I think that's part of the reason why the coaching industry is booming right now, more specifically with Black women, and more Black women are becoming coaches, because for one space, this is like one of the only or few spaces out there where you can truly be recognized, celebrated, understood, and paid for your expertise and your level of power that you
Yes.
hold. You can command that, and you can actually achieve that with,
Yes.
like I said, being a coach, being a consultant. And it's not gross. It's like I said, you are literally helping people change lives, which is what we do naturally every fucking day anyway. But
Yes.
this is a place where it's like almost unfettered, and you can really truly be yourself. And like I said, get the accolades like that we truly deserve as Black women.
One of the things that I had to get straight on myself, and when I say that, what I really mean is talk to myself in a way that I wasn't wavering, I wasn't questioning that from because I knew it, but for some period of time I still doubted it.
Yes.
And so it took a little while until I was like, whoa, 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 no. I started into like really exploring a lot of different coaches. Gosh, when was it? Right, I think it was like 2019, 18, maybe. I think it was the summer of 2018. So this was, right before we started getting into 19 and COVID and all of what happened from a virtual capacity, and what I also think helped to have coaches to really be able to get their services out to their people in a different way. I connected with some other women coaches who were talking about like your lived experience,
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you as a woman over the years of your life have been able to experience and then learn from, that can help some other person, because you're just sharing that story with them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sharing it from the perspective of, or with through the lens of, okay, this happened, but this was at the core of it. This is what this happened for in my life, and what I was able to now navigate around infinitely from that point forward, because now I learned it. I was
Yeah,
able to say, okay, that happened. I may not do that again, but I learned that lesson.
exactly.
you know and
Exactly.
now let me tell you before you fall face first, let me share this with you, right? Because I see you. And
Mm-hmm.
so, coaching and not, needing that certification to say that this is my work. It took me learning from that, from those teachers, from that perspective of like, no, your lived experience is enough.
Yeah.
If you look back, there's so much that you have been exposed to, that you have picked up and acquired over the years of your life.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's about how are you taking those lessons and putting them together in a way that someone else can, it can be just put, like, laid out so simply for someone else who's also going through it, but doesn't have to fall
Right.
face first in order to learn it.
Right. No, that's 100%. And that's part of what I do and help, other doctors do and create their offers, because that can be overwhelming to think about. And sometimes you can come to that process on your own. It's like, okay, this is what I did and this is the transformation.
Right.
But one of my favorite things to do is to help my clients actually, like, I listen back to them. I just have them to tell me what happened, and then I'm able to kind of see, okay, it's this, and to help them to see, like,
Yes.
to have that aware. Oh my God. Oh, like, and seeing the transformation and seeing the power of what they created in and of
Yeah.
itself. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what you're going to
Mhm.
do for someone. You've already done this. And that's honestly where I started with, from my first coaching framework, or actually the framework that I start with now. Like, it's literally my lived experience of
Yep.
trying and failing a lot of different side hustles and being in that mindset for a really long time before I shifted. And then it's like, okay, now I'm actually growing businesses successfully, and then by leaps
Yes.
and bounds. And so that's how I teach my clients as well, step by step, the process to do that for them.
Yes.
But like you said, it comes from, when are you going to believe in yourself truly and deeply? When are
That.
you going to believe your actual real story and believe that that's
Yes.
enough? That's more than
Um,
enough.
that.
That's more than enough.
I couldn't have said that better. Like, that is beautiful. Like, just Listen to that. Let that sink in. Because we oftentimes, yes, feel that we're not. And because of that, we just sit in that space of helplessness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, 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 you got it. And you have everything that you need. You just have to believe it. You have to be willing to bet on you. Yes, you're going to have to show up and do the work. But the work that you think you're going to have to do, that's actually not the larger part of the work that needs to be done. The biggest work that there is, especially as you are stepping into entrepreneurship and are going to see it through because that is the space that you desire to be in, that inner work, that work on you.
Yes.
That's the work. That's like what will have you like, oh,
Right. I don't want to do that. I don't like that. Wait a minute. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to get embarrassed now. I don't want to be exposed now. I talk about that on my podcast. I talk about, nobody wants to be embarrassed. Nobody wants to be exposed. Nobody wants to be rejected.
Because it's almost like it's saying that it confirming or reaffirming what you believe, which is that you're not good enough, that, you can't have those things. But the reality is you're going to fall down. But do you believe it? Do you believe in yourself enough to say, wait a minute, I can learn. I can get better at this. Like, I can do this again, right? Let me do this again until I get good, because I'm determined. I'm not going to let the one thing that happened prevent me from continuing on my path forward.
And back to what you were saying before, connecting with the person who I'm truly meant to serve. Because at the end of the day, like you said before, it's not about me. It's not about if I'm rejected or not. It's about me hearing the yes from the person that I am meant to serve, who has been waiting for me to make an offer, who has been waiting for me to show up just to tell them that it's possible for them.
Yes. It is continuing to show up in your work. That is the work. Show up. Do what is required of you, for you, on you, so that you can be able to be exactly what you need to be in the room with that next person, in conversation, and whatever it is that you are here bringing. That inner work allows you to show up more fully when you are there pouring it forward. So yeah, absolutely.
This is I'm gonna start. I don't need to figure out if this is trademarked or not, but this is entrepreneurial school. This is e-school right here. This is if you want to start a business. Like I was saying, y'all, please listen back to what Kenya just said. Like, this whole episode has been nothing but straight gems, straight nuggets. Honestly, the things that I work with my clients on inside of from side hustler to CEO this is the work that we do together, that I help you to see yourself. I'm your mirror as your coach to help you to reflect back what you want and help you to get your dreams accomplished as well too. And so that's also the power of not only getting into action and starting your own business and hiring a coach, but also being that person. As you're in action, that is who you are being, and you're becoming that. And this is a beautiful journey. That is, like I said, why so many people, of course, millennials and Gen Xers as well too, I would say, are becoming coaches, because this is literally the place where you can be seen, heard, understood, and connect with people that are truly out there just like you, that need your level of help, and also be paid for your level of expertise. It's just, there's nothing like it. I felt like if I had known that coaching existed, I probably wouldn't have gone to medical school. I would probably done something else, because the level of, the only word I can think of is joy that coaching brings me is just amazing. And I can see it all over your face, Kenya, as well too. I know it's in your client results as well too, because I know your client results intimately. But it's just like, that's what I just think that just compels us forward, is this is the joy of what you are when you do what you're meant to do when you're called to do it, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. And one of the things that I wanted to just like hammer home is, you spoke earlier about like coaching certifications and
Mm-hmm.
people feeling like, oh, if you don't have that, that must mean that you are not like you're not trained. You don't
Yes.
know, what it is that you're doing. I don't know that I can trust the work. And, I would say for those who are in this field or desiring to go into this field, it is about that intention, right? Like make sure that your intention for the people that you are serving is the highest capacity, because
Yeah.
that will keep you true to making sure that you are always being a student as well in whatever it is that is your work to bring, right? You're going
Right.
to be showing up in the highest capacity because you're always learning, you're always bringing those tools to the table, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're sharing those. And so I say that because I think that a lot of times people feel really cautious about working with coaches, especially those who may be uncertified.
Yeah.
But I would say yes, bring your lived experience, and make sure that you are doing it for the highest. Just making sure that whatever you are doing for someone else has the truest of intentions. That's what I think just drives it home.
Yeah. Other than connections with other people, because I know you and I have been connected to so many other, like you said, coaches from our first certification program. What else do you feel like being certified brought you?
Well, one, that the community, the other coaches that went through that certification with us, some lifelong friendships and connections that I wouldn't have had.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't have been able to have in that way, and so that is infinitely valuable to me. I also think that it was a lesson in which, like, yeah, you can go and you can get the certification, but underneath it all, you are still going to have to bring that work in, apply it, learn how to apply it, not only in your life but to teach it, to someone else to be able to help them. So just get about the work. It's not so much
Mm-hmm.
about achieving the certification as it is about being a student, continually learning, continually applying,
Yes.
so that you can continue to evolve yourself forward. That is really the work. And as a coach, you owe it to those that you serve to continue to elevate yourself, elevate your skill level. And so that certification was, for me, was that,
Mm-hmm.
not to say I'm
Mm-hmm.
certified, but to continue to evolve myself, to learn
Mm-hmm.
other frameworks that, might be able to be weaved into what it is that I do and I teach, so that I can add benefit to the lives of the women that I'm working with. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was for me.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. I really feel like walking away from that certification, I had the tools that I was seeking. And that's really what I went into it for. I
Yeah.
specifically had said, I don't want another certification. I don't need to be certified anything. I got enough letters after my name to continue to count. I could have half the alphabet, it feels like. Um, but I came into it really wanting to know the skills and the and have access to the tools that I could use for myself at
Yeah.
that point to grow my business. And
Yes.
then as I was seeing and feeling the power of coaching and the transformation I was getting, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to deliver that. That's the next step
Yes.
for me
Yes.
after Sherwood Properties, or as Sherwood Properties is growing. It's like, no, you guys need to be a have a business coach,
Mm,
because you need to start your own non-clinical business so you can say F this is what let me show you how to do it. Like that was literally my drive. But I feel like there's a lot of people that think that after you leave certifications, like you said, before, you still got to get to the work. They just think that clients are going to fall out of the sky and people are
mm.
just going to automatically know that they're certified and that they're open for business. But that's not what's actually going to get your legitimate business legitimately started It's only by getting your first sale that you do
right.
that.
Right.
So.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, I try to tell people that it's like you're legitimate when somebody says, "Okay, here's some money.
I'll give you money
for that offer you just gave me." Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, Kenya, thank you so much for your time. Please. So I don't even know if we shared, like, of course, your details, but like who works with you, if someone is wanting to work with you as a client, like how can they work with you and how can they find you also as well too?
So I am all about leadership. So I provide women, specifically women of color, support around being the lead of their life, taking that leading role, and really tapping into their purpose, doing it from a place of wellness. I see so many who are overwhelmed and burned out, but like I really show you all of the tools that you need to be well in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. And then to do work at your highest, to really impact the communities that you serve. And so I am at Kenya Stanell on Instagram. My website is kenyastanell.com. But yes, check me out. This is work that I am immensely passionate about, and am just really excited that I get to bring.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kenya. And everybody, listeners, don't worry. If you don't know how to spell Stanell, it'll be in the show notes. So please check the show notes so you can go ahead and go to her page. But Kenya, thank you so much. We don't get a chance to talk enough. But every time I do talk to you, I leave so edified and so fulfilled. So thank you for blessing my podcast with your presence. This was tremendous. This was an incredible episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is, it has been a treasure. So I appreciate you even asking for me to be here.
Of course. All right. Well, you take care.
Thank you for listening to the Docs Get Money podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you find your favorite podcast. Share, comment, follow, and subscribe to the Docs Get Money podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more, visit me, Dr. Kimberly Brown, at KimberlyBrownMD.com, and be sure to follow me at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram. And until next time, let's go get this money, honey.